So I fell in love with craft distilling after a visit to a distillery in Charleston, South Carolina. I just absolutely loved the copper, the products, but really didn't find a story or a reason to get into it as a profession.
Growing up, I spent my summers on my Uncle Jim and my Aunt Andy's dairy farm. After that, I sort of always kind of stayed aware of the problems with milk.
When they make that ultra-filtered milk, they've created a byproduct called milk permeate, which is essentially a high milk sugar liquid. The vast majority is currently being dumped. It's an environmental problem. It's also an economic problem because the farmers have to pay for it. And also, who wants to see 1/3 of what's coming out of a cow not used?
There's actually a long history of using milk sugars to make alcohol, and it starts with the Mongols and the people of the Russian steppes. So we knew that there was some kind of mechanism that you could use to make alcohol.
It seemed to be a natural thing for us. Well, why don't we make alcohol of it? And so we started doing some research. We wanted to connect with dairy farmers to get their opinion. We always felt that having the support of dairy farmers would be key for us. And so I was introduced to Evan, who has a farm just outside of Winchester. His family's been farming for generations.
As new technology has came on board, they have found cheaper ways of making cheese and yogurts and ice cream. So the milk permeate is a direct result of new technology in the industries. Over a series of visits, he got me hooked on this story of taking a waste and making it into something that's delicious. Technology was the start of this problem, and technology will be the instrument to solve it also. The pressure in dairy farming has always been there, but now we're more so at the mercy of government and trade deals. Things aren't the way they used to be, and we'll have to adapt and we'll have to change in order to survive.
The farmers are a very tight-knit community. It's been key for us to get that kind of feedback and getting our story out there.
And then OMID reached out to the University of Ottawa, and it was introduced to a biologist there, Jessica Gadet, who has been our biologist as well and researching it.
One of the main things that drew me into this project was that knowing that not only is it cool that I get to make alcohol, but it actually does help the environment. So we started from a lab point of view, just little flasks, little Erlenmeyers to produce small amounts of ethanol. And since that worked out well, we decided that we would scale it up. When I tell family members and friends what I'm doing, they think it's going to taste milky or something like that. And then I assure them that it's not going to have any lactose in it.
So what's interesting about our fermentation process is that it breaks the lactose into its component sugars, so the result is completely lactose-free. We're also gluten-free since we're not made from a wheat-based product.
When we take the milk into the facility, first we bring it into our fermenters. Then we add the yeast that we've grown up ourselves here. So unlike most distilleries, we grow up the yeast from the individual cells. After a couple of days of fermenting, we take it over to the still where we run it through to get the low wines. After that, we take it through the big column and distill it twice to over 95% purity, and then once through the carbon filter before we get the final product, the vodka.
I was very curious about how it would taste, but the very first time that we ran the product through the still and I tried it unfiltered, I knew that there was something there. And then as we tasted it and refined the process a bit more, just kind of blown away with the result. We organized some blind comparative vodka taste tests. So we have 4 brands, one being Vodka, and 3 others being mainstream brands. And we blindly tasted people, had them write tasting notes, and in 2 separate tastings, Vodka came out as #1, clear #1.
We're really proud of what we've produced here. It's good for the environment, it's good for dairy farmers, and it tastes fantastic. So Neil, let's cheers to that.